No mai, haere mai. Welcome everybody. My name is Lib, I'm an addict and I'm serving on our world board. And Danny, my brother, you might want to introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Danny and I'm an addict. I live in North Carolina and I'm also a member of the World Board.
And I'm down in New Zealand, so greetings from Aotearoa. Thank you so much for the invitation this morning. Or this afternoon for you guys. I sat in on the earlier session and that was just fantastic. So thanks a lot for giving us a chance to give you an update on what's happening for the board and what we've been talking about. So the Local Service Toolbox project has done a bit of work in the past few years, and there's information that you can find, NA.org, one of those slashes, I'm not sure if it's a back or a forward. Toolbox will provide you with updates and you can have a look at the resources that have been developed over the past few years. So there is a consensus-based decision-making basic, and that probably ties in hopefully with the last session that you all had on CBDM. Serving NA in rural and isolated communities and group service representative basics. And so the tools and resources hopefully that will help us all in being of service to our fellowship. So this cycle, we're focusing on virtual meetings, carrying the message effectively and virtually. We're working to develop tools and resources that we hope will be reflective of the input and feedback that we've received and are continuing to receive, and will ultimately be a support for our fellowship around the world. We all know that the world changed probably 12 months ago now, and the world shut down. For most of us, we couldn't leave our homes. The country that I live in went into a hard lockdown for 6 weeks, for example. So we were completely isolated and could leave to go to the shop. Thank goodness meetings, our fellowship responded incredibly quickly. And many virtual meetings were set up. So for example, for me, my home group continues to be a meeting on a Saturday night, Sunday afternoon for me in Washington State. I still attend that meeting, even though New Zealand, where I live, we've had meetings open probably at least the last 7 months. We can meet face to face, but there are still some virtual meetings that are occurring. And I guess it's a different experience for everybody, but what we're really wanting to do is develop tools, hear about how we can carry the message, our message of recovery, effectively and virtually. And you guys are the experts. Our fellowship is our experts. So we really want to hear from you all about what you think we need to do, what we might need to put into some resources, and Danny's going to unpack that much more shortly. So I guess what have we been doing? It's probably a question since WSC 2020, which I've heard noted was a virtual World Service Conference. And I guess one of the things that we did was we developed a survey that went out and had a close-off date of the end of December 2020. And the survey went out, we received, just to give you a bit of a snapshot back, we got 229 responses. They're in 5 language groups and 27 countries were represented in those responses. That was a low number of responses, but I think we can also acknowledge we learn as we go. The survey took, I think someone timed 18 or 19 minutes. It's a long survey. So we'll give you a bit of an update about, we have another survey shortly that will be developed. But we've also had 2 focus groups, or what we're calling focus groups. We've had members from around the world, including your country, the US, Argentina, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Poland, and Russia. These have been amazing sessions. We've been able to hear about what's happening in different parts of the world, how communities are coming together across language groups, geographically all over the world, and looking at what works and what doesn't work. We have, as a fellowship and as a community, been able to ensure, no matter what, we've got meetings. We can hear the message of recovery. One of the concerns I think I was hearing last year was, how will newcomers find us? And I know I can report, and hopefully many of us can, there's a guy who cleaned up, who comes to my home group. He'd been to meetings face-to-face previously, but he cleaned up during times of COVID, and he continues to stay in meetings. So this works, and I think that's the beauty of this. It does work. The focus has been, as you can see on the screen, fellowship and reaching out to newcomers, and then connecting to the service system and the wider world of Narcotics Anonymous. We're planning to have 2 more webinars on this topic. There's one coming up in March, and they're open webinars, so March and May. And these sessions will create space to update, share ideas, and hear from others around the world about what they're doing and how their virtual meetings are working and carrying the message effectively. If you're not sure what's going on, NAWS News will give you all of the dates about what actually is happening, and we'll give you the times if there's a survey or when there is another survey. You'll get information about how to fill that in, how to feedback, when the deadlines are for information. It's well worth checking out. And again, if you go to NA.org, you will be able to find NAWS News. You'll be able to find how to subscribe, and also find when we put up an update on our project. We will be, a report is being developed that will be available at some point in the future. And I guess, yeah, just quickly, we talked about the survey last week. We had a board meeting. So it was our first 3-day board meeting. We've had monthly 2-hour meetings since WSC 2020. And last weekend we had 3 days. So 10 hours of virtual meetings, which I think went incredibly well. We're also trying to adapt. Time zones are a challenge. We've got people, you know, getting up at 3, people staying up all night, and coming together to do the work that we've been assigned to do by the fellowship. Our work group did present a report on what we'd done, and we proposed some next steps, which we want to look at ways that we can work with zones, particularly, and language groups, excuse me, to drill down and get more information about how things are working and what the needs might be. So a specific example, we are going to be developing a set of questions for the Iranian community, and that will be a Farsi speaking session, and it will be a focus group with specific questions about how the message is being carried across Iran and for Farsi speaking members around the world. We don't have that yet, but that will be, I think, one of those really exciting sessions to get more information about what's happening for our brothers and sisters in Iran. There has been an agreement to develop another survey, and it will be more specific and shorter, and hopefully much more user-friendly. So I think that's me for now. Danny, over to you.